to your show almost every day, and I want to commend you on your brilliant and courageous stands on all matter of topics. I must say I don't always agree with what you say, Bob, but that's my right, personally. I think that the sex angle is getting to be a little too much for my liking. I would like to see more commentary on topics of other interest, like the state of the world today and the subject of morality and other thought-provoking topics that might appeal to those of us in your audience who are not morons. That's a key phrase, remember that. I am enclosing some of my own thoughts on a multitude of subjects that I have written in a poetic form. There should be some of it that would make good subject matter for your show and draw a number of calls from your listeners. Thank you. Signed, Richard J. Johnson of Clearwater. Well, I read this first page, and I tell you, I really got to feeling bad, you know. I guess maybe I don't comment enough on the world and morality and other thought-provoking topics that might appeal to those of you in the audience who are not morons. There's a P.S. too, by the way. It reads, I am a transplant here from the Chicago, Illinois area, in the workforce on a full-time basis, a veteran of the Korean War, a father of two, divorced, remarried, a poet, and writer of sorts, and damn disgusted with the general state of things in the world today. Well, when I first read the letter, before I got to the P.S., the first thing that came into my mind is, here's some old couch potato sitting in a condo, drinking and waving his cane at the No, he seems reasonably young, right in that target demographic, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 to 54. Holy cow, I just really was feeling bad, and there are two more sheets with a letter. Let me share them with you. Okay? May I, please? Thoughts About Our Great Society is the title. And remember, it is in poetic form. Actually, I'll go through the entire poem, and then we'll come back and highlight some of the lines. Steadily creeping into all of our lives is an attitude of complacency. It's taking root in our society, causing erosion of pride and decency. Well, not the best poetry I ever heard, but, basically I agree with that. What has become of those high values which helped build a great America? Why do we allow Why do we allow manipulators and smut merchants to control our media? Well, let's highlight that one and come back to it. Does everything we do in life have to be motivated by greed and profit and pleasure and self-image satisfaction? Is that the sum total of it? I kind of agree with that. What has become of the family unit and the part mothers have to play? With most of them working, their kids are left to run wild every day. The father's strong male image in the home has just about been finished. Since the women's liberation movement, his position has greatly diminished. And let's come back to that one a little later on, too. Much of what passes for music today is little more than loud, noisy trash. Slick rock promoters are defeating and exploiting our children for the cash. Our marriages are falling at a shameful rate, and it's even getting worse. Trying to get her money.
If they believe they were married at that time, I don't see why they can't put that date down as the date they were married.
Well, Bill, to that. What of the thousands of helpless unborn children who are being aborted? These are little human beings. Only the truth of this has been distorted. We'll come back to that. Every year we hear of a new breakthrough in medicines to combat disease. Then we're told it's the additives in our food that cause most of these. Mental disease in our high-pressure society has reached new record highs. Our mental institutions are overflowing, and the problem continues to rise. The gay liberation movement is working to develop a strong political base for an alternative sexual lifestyle. They are trying hard to make a case. We'll come back to that. Everyone has the attitude, I want what's mine, and I want more than you. There's no more pride in our workplace. That's something we won't do. Television rules our lives, and it's created a new generation of fools by depriving our children of imagination and other useful mental tools. Sex reigns supreme every day, and there is no such thing as modesty or shame. We have a new disease called AIDS, promising more victims than you can name. We've swung open the doors of our nation to the scum and dregs of the world. Many Americans no longer feel a sense of pride when Old Glory is unfurled. We've had several wars that we cannot relate to or even begin to understand. No longer will we blindly march headlong into battle behind the Sousa band. Other countries who once feared and respected us for our power and our might now treat us with hostility and spit on our flag, just daring us to fight. We spend billions to buy friendships of those third-rate hostile nations. Then the arms merchants are paid with the money for their guns and munitions. Our sons are then sent there, but not with a plan and tools to win the battle. Protecting the corporate interests, our boys are slaughtered just like cattle. The leaders of many governments have proven to be corrupt at every level. I suspect the world's politicians have all made their pacts with the devil. Note that one. We'll hear more about him coming up shortly. America's economy has fallen into ruin, and still we act just like blind ducks. Our workforce no longer supplies even our basic needs for consumer products. The market here is flooded with cheaper goods from many foreign shores. Liberal trade policies hurt our workers when we opened all these doors. Many of our youth, zonked out by hard rock music, now have turned to dope. Living in a world they no longer believe in, they find they cannot cope. Our national debt is colossal, and someday that obligation will mature. It's a major cause of inflation that has mortgaged our children's future. Not much of a future as a poet, but... Our major cities have become crime centers controlled by drugs and booze. Crime and violence have become our standard. The devil demands his dues. Oh, devil again there, huh? The Social Security system is running out of money at a staggering rate. When today's workforce reaches retirement age, what will be their fate? While we have all this to think about, we also have missiles and the bomb, and crazy nations with itchy trigger fingers, and we're expected to be calm. The Middle East's a powder keg just waiting for someone to light the wick. With so many fingers poised on the trigger, who knows who will flip their bick? After all the time man has occupied this small planet, whirling out in space, we haven't learned the simple lesson of brotherhood for survival of our race. Many of our spiritual leaders have taken to a path of avarice and greed. Their actions have helped destroy the doctrine of basic religious creed. In the history of the world, all great nations peak and then they fall. I fear we're getting close to that day, a final reckoning for us all. If there really is a God who looks out for every one of us on this earth, he must realize his great human creation is ready for his promise of rebirth. Well, this is very interesting. Let's go back over some of these, okay? Good old, what's his name there? Richard J. Johnson wants me to do more comments. Well, I'll be delighted to, Richard J. Let's go back to what has become of those high values which helped build a great America. Why do we allow manipulators and smut merchants to control our media? Well, that sounds really great, Richard. Which smut merchants did you have in mind controlling the media? You see, Richard, I'm in the media. And I frankly object to that very strongly. It's just a wild, crazy accusation, isn't it, Richard? You know, it sounds good, and what the hell, it kind of lets you off the hook. All media is, Richard, is a mirror. All media does is reflect back to society what it is. And if you don't like what you are, what the hell, then blame somebody else for it. How about this stanza? What has become of the family unit and the part mothers have to play? With most of them working, their kids are left to run wild every day. The father's strong male image in the home has just about been finished. Since the women's liberation movement, his position has greatly diminished. Again, Richard, here you are, a guy that just is out of control, so, what the hell, blame it on somebody else. Blame it on somebody else. Yeah, it's the women's liberation movement that have made men irresponsible. The poor father's position is greatly diminished because somebody wants to get paid for doing a day's work, or somebody wants to receive recognition for her accomplishments. And the mothers, with most of them working, their kids are left to run wild every day. Well, the fact of the matter is, Richard, that most of the mothers who are working today are working because many of their husbands want boats and campers and more expensive beer. But sure, what the hell? Blame it on the women, Richard. Blame it on the women again. Our marriages are falling at a shameful rate, and it's even getting worse. The effect of all these unguided children will surely become our curse. P.S. I'm a transplant here from the Chicago, Illinois area in the workforce on a full-time basis, a veteran of the Korean War, a father of two, divorced, remarried. Well, maybe if you'd spent a little more time paying attention to your first wife instead of writing stupid poetry and trying to blame other people for your problems, Richard, there might be even less divorce than there is today. You get my drift? The gay liberation movement is working to develop a strong political base for an alternative sexual lifestyle. They are trying hard to make a case. Well, I suppose you might view it that way. You might also view it as some people trying to stand up for their rights. Everyone has the attitude, I want what's mine and I want more than you. There's no more pride in our workplace. That's something we won't do. Well, I don't understand what the hell that means, if you would like to know the truth, Richard J., but I was under the impression that's pretty much what capitalism was all about. I want more than you. I kind of thought that's what the reward was for hard work. Getting more than you if I work harder. Sex reigns supreme every day, and there is no such thing as modesty or shame. We have a new disease called AIDS, promising more victims than you can name. Well, kind of two different thoughts there. Let's take them one at a time. Sex reigns supreme every day, and there's no such thing as modesty or shame. Should there be shame involved with sex, Richard? Would that make you real happy? We now have a new disease called AIDS, promising more victims than you can name. Yeah, that's true. Don't you have anything to say about it, Richard? Or perhaps you're one of the abstinence crowd. We've swung open the doors of our nation to the scum and dredges of the world. Many Americans no longer feel a sense of pride when Old Glory is unfurled. Johnson, that's an English name, isn't it, Richard? I dare say that the chances are pretty damn good that when your ancestors came here, they were scum and dredges, or at least they were considered to be so by the people who are already here. People like yourself. Scum and dredges of the world, Richard? No, I think the scum and the dredges are already here, if you get my drift, many of them living in Clearwater. Other countries who once feared and respected us for our power and our might now treat us with hostility and spit on our flag, just daring us to fight. No, Richard, they never respected us. They feared us, which is now why they spit on us. Because now they no longer have to fear us. It's a different world, Richard. And nobody ever respected us for our might. They were just scared you-know-whatless, Richard. People like yourself who didn't give a damn about other American workers but wanted to save a nickel. So went out and bought a foreign product. Had nothing to do with liberals, Richard. It had to do with stingy, greedy, short-sighted Americans like yourself who look at other people as scum and dredges. Many of our youth zonked out by hard rock music now have turned to dope. Right, Richard. Right. That's why they turned to dope. It's that rock and roll music. Right, Richard, baby? Our major cities have become crime centers controlled by drugs and booze. Crime and violence have become our standard. The devil demands his dues. No, Richard, the reason our major cities have fallen into rack and ruin has nothing to do with the devil, Richard. It's guys like you who ran like hell from Chicago and didn't stay there and make it a decent place to live and created a vacuum. That's what it was all about, Richard. Guys like you had nothing to do with the devil. Unless you've got a pair of horns and a pointed tail, if you know what I mean. Well, we have all this to think about. We also have missiles and the bomb. And crazy nations with itchy trigger fingers. And we're expected to be calm. Which nations did you have in mind, Richard? There's basically only one nation that the rest of the world fears with an itchy trigger finger. Do you know which one it is, Richard? After all the time man has occupied this small planet, whirling out in space, we haven't learned the simple lesson of brotherhood for survival of our race. May I refer you back to page 1, Richard? About dredges and scum. You haven't learned a hell of a lot about brotherhood either, have you, Richard? Or maybe you're talking about yourself. I kind of suspect that you are. In the history of the world, all great nations peak and then they fall. I fear we're getting close to that day of final reckoning for us all. If there really is a God who looks out for every one of us on this earth, he must realize his great human creation is ready for his promise of rebirth. Well, Richard J. Johnson from Clearwater, if this is your view of the world, about the best you could ever hope for is a Shangri-La someplace else. And you ain't doing nothing, fella, to make this place better.
Lot.
I would like to thank the occupant of the studio who turned off the cart machines in order to save us all some money. Brad, could you find out who here at the station's on profit sharing? I think then we'll find out who it is, if you know what I mean. Business in Spanish. You speak English in Sweetwater? Tough luck. Too bad. Learn Spanish. And this, of course, comes from our own beloved Senator Bob. Senator Bob, of course, is a junior senator from the state of Florida. But Senator Bob is involved in this. T.J. Rose noted that if the Contras are not allowed to peacefully reintegrate into Nicaraguan society, the Sandinistas, in the view of the administration, will not be keeping their end of the Central American Peace Pact due to go into effect on November the 7th. That's one reason the president does not want to take away assistance to the Contras until such time as they can freely return to Nicaragua, said Rose. Yeah, right. Give me a break. Let's see if we can't use our noodles here for a change, okay? Let's see if we can't put on the old thinking cap. Now, we have some people down there in Nicaragua who have been forcefully trying to overthrow the Nicaraguan government now for, what, about 7 years? And the administration says, well, gee, we think that the Nicaraguan government is going to let these people come home. Yeah, they're just going to let them come home and be buddies again. You know, all will be forgiven. Doesn't make any difference that you've been blowing up bombs and power plants and all kinds of good stuff like that and killing people and burning babies and raping women. That's okay. Yeah, come on home. Right. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. No, what's going to happen is that Florida will once again be dumped on. And apparently with the blessing of Senator Bob. Senator Bob probably sees these people as potential voters. Well, I'm very sorry, the freedom fighters, as our beloved big leader Ronald Wilson Reagan is so fond of calling them, aren't my problem. And they aren't your problem. 65% of the American people have been steadfast against aid to the freedom fighters. I mean, what it really boils down to is, do you want to open the doors here again to another wave of right-wing thugs? I mean, what the hell? Ronnie's got a ranch out there in California. Maybe they could go out there. But I think it's more than high time to stop dumping on Florida. This is just exactly what Dade County needs. You know, they no sooner down there slowly start to recover from some federal government fiasco when the federal government again opens the door and dumps on them. And I know it's a whopping 250 miles away, and maybe you just don't think it's your hassle, but damn it, it is. Damn it, it is. It's another strain on the state's already resources. And who in the hell wants thousands of right-wing thugs roaming around the state of Florida? People who think the best way to settle a problem is to pull out a machine gun and blow somebody away. Do you want them? Well, you better speak up if you don't, because lo and behold, you're going to find them starting to come in here, no doubt sometime before the end of this year. How many? Beats me. 1,000, 5,000, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50? I don't know. I have no way of knowing. But I'll be damned if I want so much as one of these people brought here by the federal government and just dumped in Florida. And I would hope that you wouldn't either. I would hope that you wouldn't. I don't expect you to get all uptight about it. I don't expect you to speak out about it until after the fact, after it's already happened. But if you had an ounce of brains in your head, you'd pick up your telephone and you'd call Senator Bob's office and tell him just what you think about a new wave of right-wing thugs being shipped here from Central America. Because it sure as hell isn't what we need. It isn't what we need at all. But in any event, I just had to get that off my chest. I know it's, of course, of no problem or concern to you whatsoever. We'll just make it an open program and talk to you about almost anything that your little heart desires. I'll even give you... For 7 years. And now it seems to be coming to an end, and what's he going to do about it? Well, let's send him to our good friends down there in Florida while we hightail it back to California and have a good old time. The administration has threatened the American people with this before. I mean, well, you either back me now or else you're going to get tens of millions of refugees coming here. Fun.
He's not a jerk whatsoever because he's patriotic. Patriotic doesn't make him a jerk.
Oh.
No. And because he wants to keep communism out of our shores, he's not a jerk.
Yeah.
It's people like you that are the jerk.
Yes, I'm a jerk,
yes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And see, I'm not calling you a communist.
Well, that's damn nice of you,
people
Tony.
like you that take the cause that you do is make communism easy to come into this country.
Right. You haven't the vaguest idea what causes communism, do you, Tony?
You got to understand one
Nor does
thing.
it make any difference to you. You think it's a virus.
People like you tied the hands of the CIA.
Oh, yeah, I tie the hands of the CIA,
Without the CIA, we're weak.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah.
The country shouldn't know everything if it comes to security of our nation.
Right, and especially if it's illegal. And people could go to jail for doing it, right? That should be kept from
illegal.
The authorities.
And some things
as well as the people.
No, Mr. Lassiter. If you take away the powers of the CIA, what you're doing is playing into the communist hands.
Uh-huh.
That's right.
Right,
That's
of course,
why we have the CIA.
Right.
Why do the Soviets have their intelligence? Do they tie their hands? I doubt it very much.
Well, neither you nor I know, do we, Tony?
Oh, you and I both know.
Oh, do we? No,
yes.
I don't know what they're doing over there.
Listen, if you want to label people, I'm not a right-winger, I'm not a left-winger, I'm just an American. You understand? The problem is you want to label everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And the situation, 80% of the population aren't right-wingers or left-wingers or conservatives or liberals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. There are people like you with their eyes closed.
What they're about is that our country stays free.
Mm-hmm.
Economically and every other way.
Yeah. Hey, that sounds great, Tony. What the hell does that have to do with dumping on South Florida again with another influx of refugees, huh?
It has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
I don't want these people to come into Florida. You know why? Because there must be 10% of them that are infiltrators, that are communist pinkos.
Right, that's the only reason you want to keep them out, right, yeah.
Not when you say thugs, because probably 9 out of 10 times the 90% that will be coming in are freedom fighters.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And the other 10% will be infiltrated, just like the Cubans, just like Mr. Castro let in maybe about 50% of them that were here to destroy our economy and sell drugs and everything else.
Yeah.
See, so don't paint the picture the way you want it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it is.
Right,
and that's
Tony.
why I don't want them coming here.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think they're going to come here anyway. And when you say about Mr. Bob Graham, first of all,
that's Senator
he
Bob.
voted against Reagan with Mr. Bork going into the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I know.
So Mr. Graham is not liberal. He's not conservative. To me, he's a good senator.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah, a good senator who, again, wants to dump on South Florida and dump on the rest of the people of Florida because it will endear him with the Hispanic community down there.
First of all, to me, you sound racist.
Mm-hmm. Racist?
Because you're talking about Hispanics. Yeah. Right. You're supposed to be so liberal.
No, I'm not supposed to be liberal, Tony.
Yes. Yes, you are.
No, Tony, I'm not supposed to be liberal at all.
Like I said to you before, it doesn't matter if you're liberal, conservative, or what you are.
Yeah.
Are you a good American? That's what's the most
Well, what do you think, Tony? You think I'm a good American?
Huh?
What do you think, Tony? You think I'm a good American?
I think you are in your own sense, but you're doing more damage than good.
Yeah.
But see, I'm glad you kept your show.
Uh-huh.
Because people like me...
I was never in danger of losing it, Tony.
Before. I don't want your show to go off the air.
Well, good. You'll get your wish. It won't.
I hope to God it doesn't.
It won't.
Because, see, all these causes throughout the years, it's people like you that have these type of shows that make it possible for other people to listen in and not to be brainwashed. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I'm not calling you a communist at all, because
Well, that's
you're
very
just
decent
playing
of you,
into
Tom.
their hands.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, you know and I know, 80% of the do-gooders aren't communists. They're just brainwashed.
Oh.
I'm not brainwashed in my way because I don't
No
call
way.
myself
Of course
a
not. I can tell that.
I call myself an American.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
Well,
great for you, Tony. I'm really glad to hear that. Carolyn in Newport Richie, you're on the air, WFLA.
Hello, Bob.
Hello, Carolyn.
Poor Tony.
Poor Florida.
Poor Florida is right.
Well, life in Nicaragua was kind of laid back, living in the jungle in a wee little shack. Folks get you and you try to get them back. Thank God I'm a Contra boy. Ortega's on the cover of a news magazine. It says he's gonna get you, and he says what he means. His wife looks fine in them Calvin Klein jeans. That's why I'm a Contra boy. Well, the future's looking bleaker and bleaker. Ortega's next stop is in Costa Rica. Couple years more, he'll be in Topeka. Chris Dodd, I'm a Contra boy.
Don't you tell me Vietnam is a parallel. Perhaps we ought to send in some personnel. I hear he's getting weapons from Israel.
Yee-haw! Oy vey, I'm a Contra boy. Yeah.
10 minutes after the hour of 1 o'clock. Don't let that trouble you. Don't worry about it at all. In the first hour, I won't trouble you again with that Contra talk. And, I mean, goodness gracious, that's so far away. No, let's talk. Let's spend the rest of the show talking about Halloween costumes. Let's spend the rest of the show talking about how Halloween is glorifying Satan and how all the little kids ought to be out there dressed up as biblical characters or any other little thing that you think is far, far more important than dumping 30 or 40 or 50 or 60,000 lunatics in the state of Florida. Okay, I'll give you the phone numbers. This will be a fun afternoon. Anytime now, I know it will be. I just have great faith in the audience, tremendous faith in the audience. Is there something wrong with do you want to call General Van Ortner and see if there's anything wrong with the phones? I don't see them lighting up. Well, it won't be any time now at all. Real soon. Real soon they'll be coming in. I know they will. Real soon. All the calls about worshiping Satan on Halloween will be coming in. It's just 5 days away. And it'll be an exciting afternoon of talk radio in Florida. Won't accomplish anything, but, you know, what the hell. Anytime now. Oh, there are several already. Ooh, goody, 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 goody. Oh, here's one already. Oh, darn. You're kidding me. You're kidding me. No, I don't want to talk about the Contras. That's over. You know, I'm not going to sit here and pull teeth. Hang up on it. Get rid of him. Nobody wants to talk about the Contras. Not interested. Today's topic is Halloween, and does it worship the devil? Kind of laid back and wanted to talk about the Contras, but that's over with. I don't beg people to be concerned about themselves. Ray in Tampa, hi, you're on the air at WFLA.
Hey, Bob.
Hi, Ray.
Hey. I don't know. I don't really think Halloween advocates devil worship. I don't see it that way at all, really.
Oh, gee, why not, Ray? You know, the little people dressed up as witches and things like that.
In a way, yeah, I can see it, but I think more it's just the candy industry. It's kind of like the greeting card industry in Grandparents' Day and stuff like that. Do you see that at all?
Well, I mean, frankly, you know, Ray, it doesn't make any difference to me one way or the other. I haven't dressed up for Halloween for a long, long time.
Oh, well, now they have.
But I just thought that, you know, perhaps it would be a far more exciting topic for the Tampa Bay audience than the dumping of right-wing fanatics in our backyard.
Yeah, well, you just wanted someone to talk about Halloween, Bob.
Thank you, Ray.
Uh-huh.
Okay, there he goes. That's the only one. But I'm a patient man. What the hell? You'll do it on other shows. You'll do it on this one, too. computer screen? Bert, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I had an old hat on, and I was Mr. Clean that year.
Son of a gun. Well, thanks, Red.
Right.
Okay, we're talking Halloween here today. Bob in Tampa, hi, you're on the air at WFLA.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Well, I have a lot to talk to you about. You talking about these Halloween costumes?
Uh-huh.
Well, I'll tell you, I think people should do away with Halloween altogether.
Mm-hmm.
You know why I think that?
Oh, why is that, Bob? Goosebumps up and down my spine.
You don't think it's bad? These people, poor little kids, don't even know what it is. All they think it is, you just walk around in some goofy-looking little costume and get some candy at somebody's front door. That's all they think it is. Well, it's a lot more than that.
No, do tell.
It's a lot more than that.
Well, what is it, Bob?
I beg your pardon?
Well, what is it?
What is it?
Yeah. You said it's a lot more than that. Well, what is it?
Well, Halloween is direct relation to worshiping Satan or the devil or evil spirits, or it's a witchcraft. It's all kind of things.
Witchcraft? You believe in witchcraft, Bob?
Well, there are witches, yes.
You mean there are old ladies with crooked noses with warts and cauldrons and things like that?
No,
conjuring
no,
up
that's
potions?
That's out of storybooks and stuff. There's nobody like that. I mean, just everyday people, you'd see.
Well, what do they do?
What do they do?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they
Oh, you don't know what they do?
They aren't like that woman that was on TV, that Montgomery lady.
Uh-huh.
The Bewitched, I believe.
Wiggle their noses and things like that and
They
make things
don't do
happen.
all that, no. I'm sure they have incantations and then the rites that they do.
I mean, they can just say words and things will happen because they utter some words.
Well, I mean, they don't like blink their eyes and the house disappears or something like that. No. But,
Well, what kind of things do you think they can do?
well, I'm sure they could put what you say, like a hex on somebody.
Put a hex on so that person would just have a lot of bad luck. And
Right.
maybe,
Right.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure.
You're sure?
That's something they do.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to go get me another beer.
Okay, Bob. Well, Terrace, hi, Tim. You're on the air at WFLA. Okay, Tim. Sometimes is it worth it because the people that you're talking to believe this nonsense, believe that there are werewolves and witches and devils and ghosts and goblins and evil spirits lurking out there. Give me a break. The worst days of my life were Halloweens.
Why is that? When was that?
Well, the first one was when I was in first grade. Okay, we were all supposed to come back in the afternoon to Miss Ray's first grade class dressed up in our Halloween costumes, and she would try to guess who we were. And it was my first store-bought Halloween costume. It was a little tiger, okay, with a cute little tail and the mask and the whole bit. And I was a slightly chubby child, as I am a chubby adult. And Miss Ray guessed me first. And I was really, really distraught. I was probably in my mid-30s before I figured out how she did it.
How'd you do it?
Well, it's because I was the only fat one in the room. The time. Open Halloween talk on the radio station this afternoon. Joe and Gibson tonight, you're on the air at WFLA.
Yes. Hello.
Hello.
This is Joan Gibsonton.
Yeah, Joan Gibson.
And that's what we did on Halloween. And I'm going to tell you something. You bring back saying, talk about it. We had 4 or 5 nights before that where we take tomatoes and throw them at, like the trolley car, throw them at anything that came by. Of course, there wasn't much that came by, so we threw them at each other. And it was really fun.
There weren't many trolley cars that came by, so you threw them at each other?
Well, what else are you going to throw at?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, what are you going to do for fun?
Just wanted to double check on that one there.
Well, we did it, and I'll never forget I had a brand new sweater on one day, and his name was Bobby. He was a big bully. He took a chalkboard. You know, you took the chalk and put it on a stick like a ruler, and then you smeared people. Well, this was my new sweater, which I think was the only new sweater I ever got in my lifetime. And he put different colored chalk, and he streaked it on me. Well, I had the biggest awful fight with him. Oh, boy, I bet you the kids, when they think about this stuff, are really reminiscing. You know, I wish everybody could listen to your program and tell them the things that happened. No bought in costumes. No bought costumes. This was all whatever you could pull out of the rag pile. And this was in the deep of the Depression, so you know there was nothing.
But we used to go by, and we were pretty fast runners. We had about 4 or 5 guys. And we come up behind them, say, we get the bag, and we just snap it out and take off. Saves a lot of work going out door to door.
You're a mean man.
Huh?
You're a mean man.
Now, wait a minute now. You're talking about we just older kids now, not these little tiny toddlers. We never bothered them. These are older kids. Kids in 8th grade, 9th grade, whatever.
Yeah, but candy's candy, man.
Yeah, no.
Ah,
we don't
geez,
want to
so it's Halloween candy, and you're looking for
sympathy? We didn't want to work that hard. There's no sense of working that hard. We're tomato throwers.
Just the kind of guy that is attracted to Florida, and the kind of man who would steal a kid's Halloween candy. Jeez.
Well, you know, I mean, these are older kids.
Oh, yeah, right.
You know, a lot of fun, though.
Oh, sure, stealing other kids' candy. Oh, I'm really disappointed, Bill.
Really?
Oh.
Bob, this is now you're getting back into good programming now, see?
But did you used to steal pumpkins off of front porches and smash them in the street?
No, we would smash them on the front porch after we rang the doorbell.
Oh.
Ring the doorbell
You got a lot
first.
of gall.
Huh?
You got a lot of gall.
We used to get out. That was
mean kids in your neighborhood.
Huh?
You were mean.
Well, not just mean, just devilish, I guess you would say.
Thank you, William.
I remember when we were kids, we had a little prank we did. There was a house out at the edge of town, and the fellow had a buggy that was sitting behind the house, and he was very proud of the buggy, but he was one of these stingy old people that was never home, and he wouldn't give anybody the time of day, and so the kids hoisted the buggy up on top of the barn and left it there. And they thought that was lots of fun, but there's a true story about...
How many years in a row did you do that?
Oh, I don't know. I think the kids did it about 2 or 3 years in a row.
I'll try. Neil in Tampa, hi, you're on the air, WFLA.
Hello.
Hello.
Come on, Bob, aren't you going to do a real show today?
This is a real show.
Oh, come on. You're going to do 2 more hours of this?
I might ask Webb if I could do all 3 of his, too.
Can't you do any kind of real topic?
Yeah, I frequently do.
Well, you know, I'm a fan of yours, but this is...
Great.
This is
Where the hell were you in the first hour?
This has got to be one of...
Where the hell were you in the first hour?
I had to miss part of it, but...
Uh-huh.
Come on, Bob, do something real.
This is real. It's a hell of a lot more real to people than what I talked about in the first hour.
You say so.
Well, I've got far more calls. People are far more interested in this.
Well, I don't know what that says about the society or whatever, but...
Well, like I said, where were you in the first hour? Sure, why not? Irene in St. Pete, you're on the air, WFLA.
This is St. Petersburg. Irene, is that what you want?
Oh, that's what I said.
I didn't hear it.
Oh.
Well, this happened probably 75 or 80 years ago because I'm 90 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we
decided... It's important that you tell us how old you are.
Pardon?
It's important that you tell us how old you are.
Oh, I just want proud of how old I am. Anyway, the little neighborhood children decided to go out in the neighborhood and open the windows. So we knew we had to walk up on the porches in order to reach the windows, and my father was in the background, and he heard our plans and thought, for safety's sake, he'd follow after us to see nothing happen to us. Well, when one group of children went up on the porch, and coming down, one mischievous boy decided to pull the steps away. In those days, they used to have steps that would kind of push up against the house, you know, and these were the kind that could be pulled away. Well, my father immediately saw the danger and rushed out and said, don't do anything like that, and pushed the steps back safely. And out came the owner of the house, Joe Gibson, I remember, gave my father a terrific push down and said, you would do a thing like that. And my father, of course, highly insulted, turned down to the smokehouse where the men gathered, and gave Joe Gibson a big punch in the eye, gave him a black eye, and I know always we were ashamed that my father was in a fight, and it was hushed up rather quickly, but after all these years, I remember that event.
Well, thank you, Irene.
All right.
Take care. Nice lady.
Now, you know how you get the giggles? Well, you start laughing when this kind of stuff, even though you're running with all your might, you start laughing.
Do I sound like the kind of man that ever gets the giggles? Well, yes, I do. I have them Friday night, as a matter of fact. Norman, Tampa, hi, you're on the air at WFLA. Get off my phone, you jerk. Take care. To this day, To this day, and it happened just earlier this week, whenever I see a pumpkin on a front porch, it brings back memories. And it lights a little fire in my heart, and I'm 42 years old, and I just don't have that many more Halloweens left. But one of these Halloweens, I'm going to do it again. I've told the story before, but I'll tell it again, because it is still a sore spot with me. I lived at 103 Conard Avenue in Collingswood, New Jersey, 1 block away from the 600 block of Park Avenue. And in the 600 block of Park Avenue, there was a home. It was a very large home. Park Avenue was exactly what it implies. And the home was occupied by a family named Brown. And I never knew any of the Browns, but everybody in my age group knew of the Browns because the Browns had a pumpkin. And there was one peculiar thing about the Browns' house. It sat very close to the street. Most of the homes on Park Avenue were back quite a ways. But Brown's house was right there on the street. And every year, the Browns went out and purchased one of the largest, choicest, most beautiful pumpkins you can imagine. And they put it right there on the front stoop, just a few steps from the sidewalk. And when I went to school, young boys stole pumpkins and giggled and laughed and ran down the street and smashed them in the street and then bragged to each other every morning in the schoolyard. And Collingswood, New Jersey was a town that had lots of pumpkins. It was easy pickings. It wasn't any big deal. Anybody that wanted a dozen or so pumpkins for the Halloween season could do it. But there was this one renowned pumpkin, Brown's pumpkin, that no one could ever get. Because Brown had kids, a lot of them. And they used to lay on the floor of the front porch. It was one of those enclosed front porches with the lights out, the outside light on, peeking through the mail slot. And if you came within grasp of Brown's pumpkin, the door would suddenly fly open, and this little kid would stand there and scream, "Daddy, they're trying to steal the pumpkin!" Now, it would have been no trouble whatsoever to just thumb your nose at the small child, grab the pumpkin, and run, especially because you knew it was going to happen. It wasn't any surprise. You knew it was going to happen. You knew it because it had happened year after year after year. And older boys told younger boys about Brown's pumpkin. And that when you got within arm's length of it, the door would fly open and the kid would stand there screaming for Mr. Brown to come and rescue the pumpkin. I never got Brown's pumpkin. To the best of my knowledge, no one ever got Brown's pumpkin, and I'm confident, I am positive that if old Brown is still alive today, he puts a pumpkin out on the front porch. And I'm equally confident that his now adult children still lie there night after night, peeking through the mail slot, waiting for someone to come up and try to steal that pumpkin. Someday, before it's all over, before the arthritis sets in, I swear to you, and more importantly to myself, I will get Brown's pumpkin. And if I can't get Brown's, damn it, I'm going to get yours. So if you're pumpkin tonight, and you'll find it smashed in the middle of the street, and you see this rather large, dark figure out there giggling, yup, it'll be me. But tell me this wouldn't be a better place. I defy you to tell me this wouldn't be a better place if we didn't do some of the things that we used to do when we were kids, you know? Tell me it wouldn't be a better place if you went over and soaped your neighbor's windows tonight. That took his furniture and hit it up on the roof or whatever it might be. I frequently talk about my beloved Collingswood, the picturesque little town that I grew up in. By the way, you may or may not remember, but it was Collingswood, New Jersey, back in the 1960s, where the first incident of spiking Halloween candy took place. It was my town, my little hometown. I cannot help but wonder if kids still do the same things in Collingswood that I used to do when I lived there. There was this one house. Again, I've told the story before, but that's okay because it's bringing back fond memories to me, and, you guys do whatever you want to do. But there was this one house, again, virtually across the street from Brown's, where they had a garage, a single-car garage, and off the garage, the roof extended, and they had a little patio, and there was lawn furniture on the patio. And I don't ever remember seeing this family sit out on the lawn furniture in the summer. And by late October in Collingswood, right outside of Philadelphia, it is far too chilly to sit out on lawn furniture. But nonetheless, the lawn furniture remained out every year until the end of October, literally to October 31st. And every year for years, my gang would go over to this house, take the lawn furniture, put it up on the garage roof with great care, place it exactly as it had been, set down on the patio, laugh and giggle and run away, come by the next morning on our way to school and damned if the lawn furniture hadn't been taken down from the roof, put back on the patio where it belonged, and we'd go back that night and take the lawn furniture and put it up on the roof. I cannot help but feel that these people hurt us every single night, and this would go on usually for a week, the week before Halloween, and it went on for years, 5, 6, 7 years, who knows. And I'm positive that these people heard us walk up the driveway. It was, one of those stone driveways. It made noise, and we would be laughing and giggling because we knew what we were going to do, and there would be the great grunting and groaning of climbing up on the garage roof and having somebody pass the furniture up there and move it around. They knew what we were doing, and I'm confident these people left it there for us. And they'd get up early in the morning and take it back down. And I'm not kidding. This went on every night for a week. And come November the 1st, the lawn furniture was put away for the winter. They could have put it away October the 20th, but they didn't. They left it there. And this would be a far better place if we still did things like that. And I'm damn serious. I really mean it. Why is it that when you and I were out doing things like that, it was just good, clean fun? But kids today, they're punks and they're troublemakers who would do this type of thing. Can you begin to imagine leaving your lawn furniture out like that so the kids could come by and put it up on the roof? Kids haven't changed. Adults have. You and I have. We're now adults. We have become adults. And we don't leave the lawn furniture out for them to put up on the roof anymore. We don't even like to let them go out from house to house because a 1 in a zillion chance that somebody will give them spiked candy. We're the same people that feed our children cyclamates. But there's a 1 in a zillion chance that a lunatic might give them something. I don't know. So what do you guys want to talk about? I'll give you the telephone numbers. I'm now hopelessly lost and sitting here thinking about the Halloween pranks. Tell me you wouldn't like to go over there and paint the next-door neighbor's chimney orange. But they got a little bit ticked off in the morning. So what? Go back and paint it the right color the next day. It would be a hell of a lot better place, and you know it as well as I do. But no, we're too uptight. Now we're adults. Oh, yes, now we're adults. And not only are we adults and won't do these things ourselves, but we don't want anybody else to do the very same things. What a marvelous group of people we are. I do Friday night, or stay out later from getting home from work to avoid the kids, huh? How many of you? Probably most of you. What a marvelous group of people we are. Yes, I am angry with you. Make no mistake about it. Oh, my goodness, there's one. Ken in Tampa, you're on the air, WFLA.
How's it going today?
Are you serious? Probably were.
That's right.
They probably were.
Yeah.
But today, if somebody came to my house and took my lawn furniture and put it up on the roof, I mean, God, where are the police when you need them? I pay taxes for this.
Well, they'd be lucky if it was you. If they did it to maybe your neighbor, they'd probably get shot.
Quite possibly. Quite probably.
Yeah.
And that's the majority. Majority's causing the problems here by ignoring the minority.
Yes, but how do you feel about soaping your car windows?
I think
your
it's
neighbor's
fun.
car windows.
I think it's fun.
Are you going to soap them tonight?
Hey, what I used to do is I used to take eggs and let them rot the whole
I don't know
year.
I don't care what you used to do. You're going to go over there tonight and do it. You're going to sneak across the lawn over to your neighbor's car and just soap the hell out of his windows.
I'm busy earning dollars so I can buy a better car to have soap on.
No, your neighbor's car. It only takes 2 minutes.
That's true. That's true.
It only takes. Can you imagine the look on his face when he comes out tomorrow morning to get in that car?
Well, when you grow up a little, I mean, the way I've grown up, soap ain't no good. If I want to do something, it'll be good. You know, it won't be soap.
What do you mean it'll be good? Soap is great. It comes off.
I don't want stuff to come
and
off.
It'll make him mad as hell.
Huh?
He'll be as mad as if you poured gasoline over it and lit it.
I'll tell you what's even better than that. They leave the doors open.
Yeah.
They got fabric upholstery.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Liquid. Mm-hmm. The kind you don't have to use.
But
the
that's
kind that don't come out of the faucet,
David.
You know?
David, that's destructive.
Well, what's the use in doing anything if it ain't destructive? I mean, either do it good or do it bad. You know, don't have no middle ground. None of this namby-pamby stuff.
David, you just don't seem to understand. You're missing the spirit here.
The spirit, eh?
The spirit, mischief.
Mischief. I think mischief is great. It's an independent act of a child, and I think children need to act independently so they can act independent when they grow up. I think it's good, all in all, really.
Well, what's the matter with a little adult mischief?
Adult mischief? Adults don't do mischief. They either bluff or they do it in. They do it right.
What do you mean, do it right? What could possibly be more right than sneaking over and soaping your neighbor's car windows tonight?
I'd rather soap the kitchen floor for my neighbor.
Thank you, David.
You bet. Bye-bye.
David's too busy out earning a living to be a kid. Well, if there is anything satanic about it...
Which I don't believe in.
It's thumbing your nose at the people who still believe in werewolves, who still believe in evil lurking out there in the dark to get us on All Hallows Eve.
Well, let me ask you something, Bob.
What?
And I've talked to you many times. Have you ever seen a werewolf?
Hell no.
Have you ever seen a wolf?
No. Well, a wolf in a zoo.
In a zoo.
Yeah.
The worst thing I ever almost stepped on was a copperhead. And I didn't even hurt that. I just stepped back.
I have a long story about that I won't trouble you with. I don't think I'm pretty sure what do they call it before the time runs out when they can prosecute you for a crime? I can't. Statute of limitations. Thank you. I don't think it's run out yet.
How about on
another
a
2 or
Saturday
3
morning
years?
we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Hey, Bob, love your show. Let's have a good time, man.
Don't forget the dog droppings. They'll get over it in a week or so.
Okay.
The time. You people, I swear, I mean, you got problems, you know? You know what I mean? You're really just too old. Would you do this? A couple of years ago, I was at a party. It was a 4th of July party. And it was filled with people I had known for years and years and years, and all of the women had made dishes and brought them, and the food was excellent, and everyone was standing around talking about the real estate market or their new careers. These were people that I used to party with just a short time before, but now they were adults. And there was one other woman in the crowd. Her name was Betsy Sidden. And I said, Betsy, this place is really a drag. This is really a drag. Let's go down to the 7-Eleven, buy some balloons, bring them back, fill them up with water, climb up on the roof, and throw them into the crowd. Betsy thought it was a great idea. We laughed all the way to the 7-Eleven and all the way back, and we stood out in the kitchen, filling up the water balloons and putting them into great big pots so that we could carry them up to the second floor and step out on the roof. And half of them broke and spilled all over us, and we laughed all the more. And I climbed out on the roof, and I just gently tossed the water balloons into the crowd of people standing around talking about the increased value of their homes. And Betsy and I thought it was hilarious. We laughed so hard that they easily spotted us. And they were very, very upset. I mean, they were really angry. Really, really angry. And they came and got me. And drugged me downstairs. I'm serious. Took me out into the yard. got a garden hose and saturated me. And about halfway through it, they started to laugh. Then I got the garden hose and squirted them, and we had a grand old time. You people just don't know how to have fun. Shirley in Polk County. Hi, you're on the air at WFLA.
Bob?
Yes, Shirley.
Bob, we listen every day, and this is terrible.
Terrible, huh?
What are you going to talk about the next hour?
Same damn thing, Shirley.
Oh, God. Another hour?
You better believe it.
Why?
What the hell's the matter with you?
Geez, I have a lot of holiday spirit, but this is ridiculous today.
Oh, what's the matter, Shirley?
Well, it's boring.
Boring. Yeah. Give me your address and I'll come by and put a bag full of dog-you-know-what on it and light it and knock on your door. Now we'll see how boring it is.
We did a lot of things when we were young that people don't even think of now.
Yes, because people are boring now.
Boring.
You do the same damn things now, you'd have a better life.
Right.
You would, Shirley.
I agree. Maybe we all should go out instead of sending the kids this year.
Why not?
Why not, huh?
Exactly, why not? Why not go out and soap up some windows? Why not, Shirley? What's the matter with it?
I'm ready.
No, you're not.
Yes,
you're calling me up and telling me this is boring talk, and you're afraid I'm going to do it for another hour. Well, I am.
Oh, come on. Let's talk about something like how the Jews...
Oh, yeah. Hey, let's talk about who should masturbate and who shouldn't, huh? Or let's talk about Madeline Murray O'Hare trying to outlaw Christmas. Yeah, bull. Let's talk about dog do and lighting it.
Turning over outside toilets and haystacks.
Why not? Why not, Shirley? What's the matter with it?
Maybe you'll get people to get out and do that this year, huh?
I won't succeed unless I get you.
I'm ready.
No, you're not, Shirley. You're calling me up and telling me it's boring.
Well...
You're a stick in the mud, Shirley. Admit it.
No, I'm not. No. I have a lot of spirit.
A lot of spirit. Spirit doesn't count, Shirley. You got to go out and do it.
Yeah. Well, I just might do that this time.
Shirley, if you don't go soap your neighbor's windows tonight, you have no one to blame but yourself. And maybe the last year you have an opportunity to do it.
Well, that's true, yeah. Well, I'm going to listen the next hour now and just see.
Okay, Shirley.
All right.
Take care. Richard in North Tampa. Hi, you're on the air at WFLA.
Yeah, how you doing?
Fine, Richard.
Hey, we have come up with a fantastic situation. At a bunch of adults are having a Halloween party. The kids and I have found out about it.
Mm-hmm.
They're having it at the lake at someone's lake property.
Mm-hmm.
We have been there for the last week, booby-trapping the hell out of this place.
All right, Richard.
Hey.
What kind of things are you setting up?
Well, they have the water balloons.
They're great. Water balloons are fantastic.
The water. They have turned around and loosened boards on a step. They have taken the pull snaps that you get for birthday parties and tied them to the gates so that when the gates open, it's going to pop. They have put one of the old tricks, drive a nail down in the sash of the window, tie a string on it, hide in the bushes, and pull it, and it just wraps the hell out of the window. They have disconnected wiring so that some lights work, some lights don't work.
Richard, you sound to me like the only together man in the entire area.
Oh, we have had a ball with this for a week now. They have tied things in a tree to drop, like the ghost and all of this. I tell you, these kids have more imagination than anybody will ever give them credit for.
Wait a second, this is all the kids? None of this is yours?
Oh, yeah, sure it is.
Well, okay.
But I'm saying just the opportunity to do it. They're having a ball, and I'm living my second childhood. I think that every kid needs to have the opportunity to do something. And when they all get inside and they start their little party, naturally they're going to have a little bit of air left out of a tire, soap all over the windows.
Well, you see, Richard, I remember the first time as an adult that I came out of my house on one morning to go get in my car to drive to work, and there was soap all over my windows. And I was so mad. I huffed and I puffed and I stomped around and I cursed the air. For what? It was great.
Because
and I had done it to so many other people. Well, no, I had done it to so many other people, but for a while I became an adult. Oh, this is terrible. These are the things that life is made of.
you're right. It's just as good as peanut butter and bubble gum, and we even using some of that.
All right.
Hey, have you ever tried to open your door handle on a car and reached into a handful of peanut butter?
Oh, I would really hate to think about it. It could take a good 4 or 5 minutes to realize what had happened.
Oh, this is beautiful. I think every kid needs a chance just to be honestly rotten. And the nice thing about it is they're going to probably end up having a ball because in the house, in the kitchen, will be a kitchen sink full of water balloons so that they can have a little retaliation.
Only damage a water balloon ever did was to ruin somebody's $85 hairdo that she shouldn't have had anyway.
Well, that's it. Who wants a hairdo for a Halloween party?
You got it.
And they're going to have a chance to fire back. Hey, keep it up. We love it.
Thanks, Richard.
Right out.
Do it.
In fact, I'm going to call you Monday, let you know how it came out.
By the way, does she have a lot of shrubs?
Yes, she does.
Don't forget the toilet paper. $1.50. You can have a lot of fun.
Well, see, that's the fun part. My wife and my...
But have you ever seen anybody out there in the morning with a big green garbage bag taking the toilet paper off of the shrubs and shoving it in? It's a great sight.
Well, this lady...
It's like you were saying earlier, it's almost something that she wanted.
Well, I have a phone number. My phone number at home, the last 4 digits spell out a classic 4-letter word, okay? And earlier this summer, right after school let out, a handful of kids figured it out and called the house. They didn't know that they were calling Lassiter, the scourge of Tampa Bay. They just were calling some guy that had a phone number that spells out a dirty word.
Yeah.
And the first time they called, I was, good for nothing, kids. Then it suddenly dawned on me, why not? What the hell? They called 2 or 3 more times, and they were laughing so hard they couldn't even say the word. And after a couple of days, actually after a day or 2, I suppose, it went away. What the hell? I'd much rather have kids sitting at home spelling out dirty words on the phone and calling the person who's got the number than going out and doing other weird things.
Same guy was a real old crab. Just one of these guys. He's about 75 years old, and he had a beautiful John Deere riding lawnmower. And he had been really mean to us during last winter, so when springtime came around, it was time to mow his lawn for the first time. We snuck in his garage late one night and took the blades off of his mower deck. So when he went out the next day and he started running around the yard, and it took him about 3 or 4 passes until he realized what had happened.
I love it.
There he was, just mowing like heck, nothing happened.
All right, now that is a great prank. That's a fantastic prank. I mean, I'm not into breaking windows, although if one should break accidentally, yeah, it's part of the game, but...
We also had a golf team, and our golf course that we played at was right next to a major highway. And the driving range, practice range, ran right alongside the highway, and it was just perfect for a slight draw with a driver to bring balls into the...
But Zeke would just still do these things.
Absolutely, I still do.
You still do, you promise me.
I promise you, Bob.
Because I think this would be a far better place to live if we still did this kind of stuff to each other.
Just wait till you see what I do to WFLA's building one night.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Well, somebody did that at PLP a couple of months before I left. They came over in the middle of the night. And I don't have any idea how many rolls it must have been, but they covered the building and all of the satellite dishes. I came out at 11 o'clock, looked at it, doubled over in laughter. It was just the funniest damn thing I think I'd ever seen. And unfortunately, it was all gone by the next morning, but such is life.
Yep. More power to you.
Clearwater is next high.
Miss Money, in support of your opinion, I sure would like to have Rocky's opinion. And can you make up with him and implore him to call you in and give his position, please?
No.
Okay.
Not interested in it.
Okay. Well, like you say, it's your show, sir. God bless you.
Take care, Steve. It's just another guy that would be far better off if you go out and soap somebody's windows and stop worrying about Rocky.
Let's put it this way. Then after this is done, you better disappear. The point is that you go down to the store and you buy yourself a nice fresh fish. Go down to the safe deposit box, put the fish in the box, close the box, and then, as I said, disappear. The problem the bank's going to have is, number one, by the time the fish begins to show its presence, it can be very difficult to tell which box it's coming from. Add to this the fact that box holders are probably very reluctant to come down to the bank to open their boxes because they wanted to keep private stuff in there anyway. So the bank will have to start calling all these people. And then by this time, the smell is getting horrible. And finally, after they finally realize it's your box, they try to find you, they can't. So now they have to go, if you've done what I've said, then they have to go to court, get a locksmith there, get a court order, drill out the locks, and finally get to the root of the problem.
Pity poo.
But all this time has gone by. And
Problem is, it would cost me about $9,000 in fish to get even with all the banks I'd like to get even with.
But the aroma in the bank, by the time they finally get the court order, it would make the place uninhabitable.
Gee, I don't know how it would be that much different from... Well, that's besides the point.
Have a nice day.
I'll try. Take care, Arnold.
Just go down there in the middle of the night and pull the tarpon off of the hooks. We would take them out to major hotels in the area and sink them in their pools. We always wanted to be there in the morning for, a drunk to come out, and take a little dip to, kind of refresh himself and dive in the water and then open his eyes and see this 126-pound tarpon looking at him.
I love it.
Now, the other thing we used to do when I was in college as a chemistry major, we used to get silver nitrate and mix it with water and put it in water balloons. And when you hit people with it, it doesn't hurt them at all. It's totally harmless, but it would turn your skin black.
Well, I just thought of something. When I first got a pool when I moved to Florida, I did something, and God, I wish I knew what I had done. But I did something in mixing the chemicals to put in the pool where I got up the next morning and the entire bottom of the pool was black. I mean, I was just sick to my stomach. I'd never had a pool before. I thought for sure I was going to have to drain the damn thing and get in there and scrub it, and all it was a chemical reaction that was easily cleared up. But I don't know what it was that I did, because if I knew, you could go around and do it to other people, and they'd wake up in the morning and have a black pool, and they'd go insane.
That would be an excellent touch.
Charlie in West Tampa. Hi, Charlie. You're on the air.
How's it going, Bob?
Oh, fine, Charlie.
Yeah, we used to pull a lot of pretty sick pranks.
Well, they're the best kind, Charlie.
Well, they're pretty gross, Bob. They're rude. But we used to...
Better still.
Well, we used to take... There was this one guy down the street that was a real jerk, and he used to always have this big pumpkin out in his front lawn that had a candle in it and stuff. We used to take firecrackers, a big thing of firecrackers, and put them in the pumpkin and tie a long wick to it. And we'd put dog dew in the pumpkin itself, too. And we'd bang on his door, and he'd come to the door, and the pumpkin would, almost explode.
Yeah, well, tell me about the sick, rude ones.
Tell me about the sick, rude ones? Okay, how about this one? We used to...
I mean, wouldn't that be fun to take a pumpkin over to, let's say, a David Capon's house?
That sounds good. We used to urinate in buckets, Bob, and you know how some front doors have screen, like a screen door in front of them?
Uh-huh.
Well, we used to open it just a little bit and balance it just right and tie 2 strings between the handles, and we'd knock on the door, and when he'd open it, he'd have...
Must have been an awful lot of you to fill up a bucket.
Well, we'd also mix a little dog dew in there and stir it up real good and stuff like that. So when you open the door, it was quite a mess. Well, we used to do all kinds of stuff like that. We got in trouble once because we put 2 big garbage cans across the street from each other. This is up in Detroit on Devil's Night, and we tied a string between them. And when cars used to come by, the garbage cans used to meet halfway, if you know what I mean. And
do you realize that there are a lot of communities in this country that didn't do this kind of stuff?
Yeah, no, Detroit's bad on Devil's Night, Bob, real bad.
I don't understand why not. I mean, this is the stuff that childhood is made of.
I mean, well, now that I look back, it was pretty rude. I wouldn't want nobody doing it to me, but it was fun at the time,
What do you mean you wouldn't want anybody? Where's your sense of humor, Charlie?
Because nowadays it's different, Bob. You get,
Oh, Charlie. Charlie, why do you want to take away the kids' fun?
I'd pull some pranks, Bob, but I wouldn't urinate I wouldn't want nobody urinating in a bucket and it all rolling into my house or on my head or whatever.
Charlie, you just have no spirit of adventure left anymore. You're becoming a stick in the mud. You probably own stock and have real estate investments and things like that.
Well, I'd still put bubble gum under somebody's car door handle or whatever, stuff like that.
I kind of like the peanut butter. I don't know if you heard that earlier.
That was good.
Right on. It'd take you several minutes to figure that one out. And then meanwhile, you'd be running around going, oh, yuck. That would be great.
Oh, by the way, Bob, I've been wanting to call you about this. This guy, Jacob.
Yeah.
He's definitely a hoax because I was listening to tapes of a month ago or so when you first got there. He used to call us a guy named Junior, and he said, he actually called Rocky a dress-wearing penis worshiper. Jacob, and we compared voices and it's the exact same guy.
Yeah, well, Jacob gave himself away by calling too often. He just doesn't have enough material to call that often.
Yeah, it was good while it lasted, though.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, Bob, have a good day, and we'll come up with some more pranks. We'll let you know about them.
Okay, Charlie, thank you. Be good. Dolores in Tarpon. Hi, Dolores, you're on the air.
Hi, Bob. This is Dolores from
Tarpon Springs, uh-huh.
No, we could not. No, we could not do that. It had to be placed either in the milk box or the, between the doors or whatever on the porch. And as we went by, we picked up each sample of Micron and put it back in our paper bag or back into our wagon and collected myself and a couple of friends who were also paper boys, collected most of the bottles in the neighborhood which were passed out. Well, because it was right before Halloween, we decided that we would introduce a new mouthwash ourselves, whereupon we emptied out the contents and we proceeded to urinate in every possible bottle that we could, which we then put in food coloring to color it to the approximate color that it was. Replaced them back in the plastic bags, and as we delivered our papers, put them back on the doorknob.
Oh, terrible, terrible.
Yeah.
I love it, but terrible, Angela.
Somehow they never was quite a successful product. I don't know.
I can't begin to imagine. What town was this in?
This was in Kenmore, New York, a suburb of Buffalo.
Uh-huh.
But wonderful times we had. Bob, have a good day.
I'll try. Never again will I use mouthwash that comes to the door, but I'll try, Angelo.
Anyway, got time for trick or treat. So Mom's handing them out, and I'm handing them out, and going out and come back. And the kids are coming back and saying, Mrs. So-and-so, boy, it was delicious. Boy, it was delicious. What made you think of that? So everybody was happy. So in the meantime, I got one. I went upstairs and I ate part of it. I put it in the drawer, and the next day, guess what I found in the drawer?
What?
Worms.
No.
Because it was good. The peanuts that were in it got contaminated, and the worms were coming out, and everybody was eating worms on the street.
Well, you survived.
Isn't that gutsy?
Well, yes.
That is terrible. But that's the worst thing I can remember about Halloween, and everybody...
Another strike report from the Synonymous Buck.
The Synonymous Buck?
Yep, he's going to be calling in this afternoon. He promised he's going to keep us abreast of what's happening out there.
Do you think he could be Bubba?
I don't know, man. I've got an idea as to who he is.
Rocky does a lot of good voices.
Could be one of the two, Yes, I mean, every crowd needs a heckler,
I'm not sure, Webb. There's something a little strange going on here. Something very, very strange.